Hi everyone, I'm Marcy, and today rather than share an individual recipe, I thought I would cook just an everyday dinner so that you can see how it all comes together. It's been a really busy day for me, and so this is just something that is going to simplify my life. This is, however, something that I've shared with you before. I'm making calabacitas. But today I'm going to be adding some hatch green chili, which is real traditional here in New Mexico, and I absolutely love it. And usually when I make calabacitas, I'd say 99.9% of the time, I will make them with New Mexican spoon bread, which is a cornbread, also with hatch green chili and a cheese. So if you're following along and you have a freezer full of hatch chili, go ahead and pull some out because you'll need it today if you end up making this. I'm probably going to make some refried beans to go with it, and then I've also got some pork chops, which should be yummy. So hopefully you'll draw some inspiration from this. So I always start with what takes the longest, and that is going to be the Mexican spoon bread. And I've made this so many times that you don't even need a recipe for it. Start by combining the dry ingredients. It's only a cup of cornmeal and half a teaspoon of baking soda. Need to get the eggs out of the refrigerator. Now the wet ingredients. You'll need 2 eggs lightly beaten, half a cup of oil or melted butter, 1 14-ounce can of creamed corn, and about 3/4 of a cup of milk. Just mix, and then you add your dry ingredients to your wet ingredients, and now you have your batter. Grease an 11 by 17 inch baking dish, then pour in just enough batter to cover the bottom. Now comes the hatch green chili. I'm going to dice this up and add it into the baking dish. Then I'll grate enough cheddar cheese to sprinkle across the top of that first layer. Finally, we cover with the remaining batter, spread it over evenly, and sprinkle with a little more cheese on top. Right, now this goes in the oven, and while it bakes, I will go ahead and start making the calabacitas. And actually, I'm gonna wipe this down and clean. I'm one of those clean as you go type of cooks. I'm gonna save this for the calabacitas, and I'll chop up a little more of that in a while, but just making a little room to start cutting this. I always like mixing the yellow and the green. I just think it looks prettier. But you can use whatever type of squash you have. I mentioned earlier that today's been a busy day. It started first, I took my sister, she had a doctor's appointment. And then after Tony and I did some yard work, and it was really cool because we raked up this area that exposed some bugs. Yeah, that part's not cool. But what was cool is that this roadrunner that we have living around in our backyard came out to eat those bugs, and he was gorging on them. And what was so crazy is this whole time that we've lived here, because I know I've talked about roadrunners before and I don't mean to overdo it, but it wasn't afraid of us at all. We were able to get up really close to it. It was just there eating all the bugs that were exposed. So long as I am talking about roadrunners, I gotta tell you about a giant roadrunner as you come into Las Cruces on I-10 if you're coming in from the west side. There is a giant roadrunner that is made entirely out of recycled goods. When you see it, you see things like, all kinds of tennis shoes, you see keyboards, you see old 8-track tapes, you see crutches, all kinds of things. It's kind of a cool spot. For me, when I wasn't living in New Mexico, when I lived in Arizona, and also when I lived in California, and I would drive into town, as soon as I saw that giant roadrunner, I always felt like I'm home. Because you see there Las Cruces in the valley just past it, and especially when the lights would be on at dusk, it just looked really, really beautiful. So anyway, I thought I would show you a little bit of that as well. I know I showed you a giant chili already, so now you get to see a giant roadrunner. You just want to cut these sort of in equal sizes so that they cook the same. And if you rock your knife without lifting it off the board, you'll chop them in no time. Right now, we're shooting this in real time, so I don't have to worry about slowing down for the camera. Usually when we shoot these cooking videos, I have to be stopping constantly so that Tony can set up his shots. So it'll take me twice as long to cook whatever it is that I'm cooking for you than, if I was just doing it regularly. So today's good because I'm just gonna make this like I normally do. Just a couple more to go. Okay, all done with this. Now I'm going to take this over to the stove and fry them. And I'm still getting used to having a gas stove. I absolutely love it, and I've been wanting a gas stove forever, but I'll be real honest with you, I've burned a few things because it gets so hot so quickly. So it takes a little getting used to. And that should be good right about there. And just like that, this oil is hot. So I'll put these in. I'm just gonna get them a little toasty. And I'll add in the onion. Meantime, I'm gonna heat up this water. This is what I like when it's got the little brown marks. Just wanted to fry a little. I'm going to make a little well here in the pan so that I can start frying my onion. And you can put as much onion as you like. This is all the onion I had. Usually I would put a little more. You see it browning nicely. And of course, right when I say that, you don't see any of the brown ones. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and add in my green chili. And you can add this in at the end as well. Here again, you add in as much or as little as you want, but it just goes so well in this dish. The last time I shared this recipe, I didn't add green chili because I thought people are gonna think I overdo it with my green chili, and so I should just do a basic Calabacitas recipe. And then what happened? People said in the comments, hey, where's the green chili? Because they know that most people add green chili to this. So then I felt bad for not including it. Sometimes I used canned corn, sometimes I use fresh corn if I have it, sometimes I use frozen corn. Just work with what you have, but this is really the perfect amount. Now I'll go ahead and add it to my pan. And since it's already cooked, you can also add it at the end. You don't have to add it this early, but look how pretty that is. The colors are just so complementary. I'll go ahead and add the water now. Just wanted to give it a head start so that it's nice and hot when I put it in. You never want to add cold water because the stuff's already cooking and then it would stop it, it would stop the cooking process if you added cold. And I don't fill beyond however much of the calabacitas in the corn because it's going to render some liquid itself. So that's really all the water you need. And now I'm just going to let it cook. Get this all cleaned. And by the way, how do you like my sad-looking basil plant? The other day I made my friend's creamy tomato basil soup, and it was so sad. For the first time, I actually missed my house in Arizona because I missed all the basil I had growing in my garden. My basil plant grew out of control over there, and I had to go to the store to buy this little basil plant, and I cut up and used most of it. So I'm gonna have to replant this and hope that it grows here in New Mexico. This is close to being done, and the New Mexican spoon bread is done. So timing-wise, this works out because you want it to cool before you serve it. Now I'll go ahead and start on the pork chops, and everything should time out about right. But I feel like we kind of have a theme going here with the green chili, so I was just thinking, you know what I'm gonna add? My green chili powder. I just shared this in one of my more recent recipes, and so many people commented about how they didn't even know that green chili powder existed. And just to be completely honest with you, I didn't know either, and I grew up in this area. Probably the first time I saw this was about 3 years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, how on earth do you make it? And so I asked, and they told me you just make it like you would your normal red chili powder. So it's just a different flavor, but still in powder form. So I'm thinking that's gonna go good on these pork chops. We shall see. I'm just seasoning on both sides with a little salt, then I'll sprinkle on the green chili powder and a little flour. Hopefully this will turn out good. I suspect it will. I have no idea how that's going to turn out, but that's the fun thing about cooking. You can just experiment, and then when things work, it's like, yes, I'll do it again. And when things don't work, definitely will not be doing that again. So either way, you're going to learn. We make pork chops on the grill outside as well, and they're so good grilled. Growing up, I had never had them grilled, and Tony made them that way once, and boy, love them. We really need to grill more. We just don't seem to do it enough. All right, how's this coming along? Very well. I'm gonna go ahead and add some milk and some cheese, and I know so controversial that I added milk last time, but that's how I make it. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. It just makes it a little creamy, and I love it like that. Let me turn up the heat a tiny bit more. When the calabacitas are nice and tender, that's when I season with salt and pepper. cheese gets all nice and melty, there's nothing more delicious. I'm just gonna put a lid on this, and I need to start frying the pork chops. And last but not least, I need to make the beans. And I save them for the very end because they get ready in no time. And these are all the beans I had left in my refrigerator, but it's enough for this meal. Just a tiny bit of oil. And as soon as they heat up, just mash them real quickly. And these refried beans are now done. I could add some cheese on top, but honestly, we've got cheese already in the Calabacitas and then also in the New Mexican spoon bread. So I'm just gonna leave them as is, turn everything off, and we are done. So here's what's for dinner tonight. We've got some delicious Calabacitas that are nice and cheesy, and they have some hatch green chili in them. We've got some pork chops, some refried beans, and then this is my favorite New Mexican spoon bread. Again, I've shared that recipe before, and I'll go ahead and put the information in the description box. I may even include a link so that you can watch those videos in case you want to make this. It'll be a more detailed recipe for you. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching today. I'm gonna go ahead and set the table so that we can eat while it's still hot, and we'll see you next time.